Greetings, speed enthusiasts!
Today we review the final duels in the 12-second car category of the 18th edition of the 2025 Carnival Quarter-Mile Drag Racing Cup in Barranquilla.
We begin with a duel between two vehicles that come from the 13-second category. Jose Funin's Audi S3 versus Abel Brieva in his Audi SQ5.
Reaction time de José Fureme. 0,113. José Fureme. Veamos quién sigue en competencia.
The victory goes to Abel Brieva in his Audi SQ5.
The next duel is between Diego Bonilla in his BMW M240i and Camilo Bayona in his Toyota Celica with a 2JZ turbo engine.
The victory goes to Camilo Bayona in his Toyota Celica with a 2JZ turbo engine. The next matchup is between Aquiloma Notas in his Ford Mustang Fox body versus Julian Tovar in his BMW M240i.
The winner is Julian Tovar in his BMW M240i.
Next up, we have Luis Drift behind the wheel of an electric SUV, the BYD Sealion 7, versus Michael Carmona in his BMW 135i.
Michael Carmona, carril derecho. Tiempo de reacción de Luis Drift. Reacción de Luis Drift. Tenemos que sigue en competencia.
Luis takes the win in his BYD Sealion 7. The next race is between Jamal Chavez in his Audi S3 versus Jamie Cannon in his turbo Honda Civic.
González no va, por consiguientemente el Cervera avanza en la llave. Unos segundos por seguridad, nos va a tocar frenar el evento, ya que tenemos una persona.
Jamie Cannon in his turbo Honda Civic clocks an ET of 11.899 seconds, which disqualifies him from this category and sends him to compete in the 11-second bracket. Thus, the victory goes to Jamal Chavez in his Audi S3.
The next duel should have been between Nieder Segura and his Chevrolet Camaro versus Stick Gonzalez in his Audi S4. However, the latter does not show up, resulting in his disqualification and giving the win to Nieder Segura.
Next, Felipe Rodriguez in his BMW M340i xDrive goes up against Cesar Ramos in his Chevrolet Corvette C8.
Salud para la siguiente ya.
The victory goes to Cesar Ramos in his Chevrolet Corvette.
Next, Edwin Novoa's Mercedes A45 AMG was supposed to face Miguel Palencia's BMW M240i xDrive. However, the latter does not show up, so he is disqualified, and the victory goes to Edwin Novoa.
The next matchup is between Camilo Bayona's Toyota Celica versus Abel Brieva in his Audi SQ5.
Le recordamos a los espectadores y al público en general que estamos en modo Felipe Quintero y Francisco.
Abel Brieva in his Audi SQ5 seems to experience an issue in the first few meters and pulls out of the race, handing the win to Camilo Bayona in his Toyota Celica.
Now it's Felipe Quintero in his Ford Mustang Fox Body versus Francisco Labori in his BMW 535i.
The winner is Francisco Lafori in his BMW 535i.
The next duel is between Luis Drift in his BYD Sealion 7 versus Julian Tovar in his BMW M240i.
Se prepara y deben estar haciendo ingreso Jamel Chávez y Neider Severa. Por favor, a la zona de calentamiento. Es el primer registro. Entonces es el
Thanks to his reaction time, the victory goes to Julian Tovar in his BMW M240i.
Next up, we have Jamal Chavez in his Audi S3 versus Nieder Segura in his 1980 Chevrolet Camaro.
If you're enjoying the video, please support us with a like. Jamal Chavez in his Audi S3 commits a false start, which gives the victory to Nieder Segura's Chevrolet Camaro. We now move on to the duel between Cesar Ramos in his Chevrolet Corvette C8 versus Edwin Novoa in his Mercedes A45 AMG.
Listo, el siguiente pique, el 328, Edwin Novoa, carril derecho. Veremos quién sigue
Thanks to his reaction time, Cesar Ramos in his Chevrolet Corvette takes the win. Meanwhile, Edwin Novoa in his Mercedes A45 AMG records an ET of 11.999 seconds, which disqualifies him from this category and sends him to compete in the 11-second bracket.
Next, we have Camilo Bayona in his Toyota Celica versus Julian Tovar in his BMW M240i.
The victory goes to Camilo Bayona in his Toyota Celica, who now awaits his next opponent, the winner of the upcoming duel between Nieder Segura's Chevrolet Camaro and Cesar Ramos's Chevrolet Corvette.
M242 es el mejor registro de Neider Sealion. Muy buen vídeo vamos a tener a continuación, señores. Debe completar el pique y se enfrentará a Camilo Bayona.
Neider Segura in his Chevrolet Camaro commits a false start and then withdraws from the race, giving an easy win to Cesar Ramos in his Chevrolet Corvette C8, who will now face Camilo Bayona in his Toyota Celica with a 2JZ engine.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos.
After an impressive duel, the victory by just 0.02 of a second, that is, take a second, divide it into 1,000 parts, and take 2 of those units of time, something even the finish line camera, with its 124 frames per second, can't clearly capture. Well, by that tiny margin, Camilo Bayona crossed the finish line first in his Toyota Celica. However, both vehicles recorded ETs within the 11-second range, so both were disqualified from this category and sent to compete in the 11-second bracket.
Thus, the next matchup will be between Francisco Lafori in his BMW 535i versus Carlos Rojas in his Volkswagen Bora GLI.
After a close race, the victory, thanks to reaction time, goes to Francisco Lafori in his BMW 535i. His next opponent is Julio Castro in his BMW M240i xDrive.
Florí. Veremos quién pasa al final contra Saray Torres. Tiempo.
After another close duel, and again thanks to reaction time, with a margin of only 27 thousandths of a second at the finish line, Julio Castro in his BMW M240i xDrive takes the win, earning a spot in the final where he will face Saray Torres in her BMW M340i xDrive.
Por favor, los pilotos de 049. Veremos quién se queda. Veremos quién se se queda con esta categoría. Una ventaja considerable de Julio Castro.
The victory, thanks to reaction time, goes to Julio Castro in his BMW M240i xDrive, thus claiming the championship trophy in the 12-second car category of this 18th edition of the 2025 Carnival Quarter-Mile Drag Racing Cup in Barranquilla. Congratulations to him and his team. We've reached the end. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more content. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Francisco Laforí contra